Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Retrosonic Podcast. I'm Steve from Retroman Blog, and tonight I'm joined by rock photographer Paul Slattery.
Good evening.
Put the kettle on.
Well, I will.
I think I'll have a nice cup of tea, just like the fallen leaves. A china cup with some milk, that's fine. They drink it all the time. Without tea, their sun won't shine. Oh, you know what? I think I'll have a nice cup of tea. You know where you are with a proper brew. There's nothing much to do. Warm the pot and stir the leaves. Milk or lemon, whatever you please. Just like the fallen leaves. I really do like a really nice cup of tea. A nice cup of tea. A good cup of tea. A nice cup of tea. I do like a good cup of tea. Occasionally I'll go for an upside food shop, but anything in the morning will get me going. Any kind of breakfast tea. It can't be a real good Earl Grey.
And that was a Snakeman 3 with a nice cup of tea, and it's nice to hear a little tribute to the Fallen Leaves in there as well, isn't it? You know.
Well, it's great, yeah, because we all like a nice cup of tea with our tea.
Yeah, I know. And if anyone's seen the Fallen Leaves, you'll know that they have a great little tea ceremony in the middle of their song. Is it Shining?
Shining, generally, yeah. Rob opens up his posh flask and starts sipping a cup of tea while Rob Simmons blasts away on his guitar.
Yeah, and it's great, isn't it? It's a nice little tea ceremony, and it's great that the Snakeman 3 have paid tribute to them. And Snakeman 3 have played at the 12 Bar with the Fallen Leaves on a couple of occasions, and they're a great band from Northampton, and there's a bit of a scene going on in Northampton. Apparently, it's the new epicentre of rock and roll. You know, you've got the Mobs and Dick Venom and the Terratones, and it seems to be the new place to go.
I thought it was all about shoes.
Yeah, cobblers, yeah,
and hats.
Yeah, no, that's Luton, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's the Hatters, isn't it?
Oh, well, they're all fourth division, aren't they?
Yeah,
non-league now,
that's
aren't
right,
they?
Exactly. But that was a great little track from the Snakeman 3. And so, welcome to Retrosonic Podcast. It's been a long time since we've got together, isn't it? And we worked out it was March, the last episode.
March. Well, we've been too busy, Steve.
I know.
We've been far too busy to sit down and have a chat.
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
We've been out at gigs all the time.
Yeah, and even tonight, our normal colleague Adam from the Jet Sonics can't make it because he's playing a gig tonight.
He's playing a gig?
Yeah. I know, it's been mad. So, we've been really busy. We've had a great few months. There's just been music all the time.
Yeah, it has. And music to come.
And more to come. And we're going to go through a few of the things that we've been up to over the past few months since the last episode.
Just a few of the things, not
just
everything.
Just a few, not everything. We'd have about a 4-hour long episode. And we're going to pick out a few of our favourite gigs and happenings and play a few tracks along the way. And so, I mean, last time we got together was back in March, and that was just before we did a gig for the Fallen Leaves, the Transients and the Jet Sonics at the Fighting Cocks in Kingston, and that was a great little get-together.
That was an excellent gig.
That was a nice little show, wasn't it?
Hmm.
And then from then on, it's just been sort of pretty much a gig a week, isn't it? You know,
it has. It's like a whirly gig, actually.
Yes, a whirly gig,
like a whirly gig, a social whirl of gigs.
Social whirl, you know.
Yeah, it's been tremendous, and we've seen some really tremendous bands the last 3 months.
I think so. I think every time we do a podcast, we seem to say, I've just seen the best gig I've ever seen, and it's great that at our age we can still be excited by rock and roll.
Well, we have both seen the best gig we've ever seen, and we'll tell you more about that later.
Well, we can do that now. Let's talk about the best gig we've ever seen, and I would say that was the Fleshtones,
supported by
the WitchDoktors.
Now, what kind of a gig was that? That was just amazing.
It was, wasn't it? You know, I mean,
There's
also the Dorellas played, and but that was at the Camden Underworld.
Yeah, not brilliantly attended.
No, it was a sort of early. Was it a Tuesday night? Wasn't it?
It's a Tuesday night.
You know, there wasn't many people there, unfortunately, which was sort of felt a little bit sorry for the Fleshtones because they put so much into the show. And you'd like to see a bigger crowd there.
But yeah, that was a really great gig, and I was just enthralled by the whole night. Really, I mean, the WitchDoktors came on and they played their fantastic sort of southern rockabilly punk garage.
Yeah,
and
is that a new genre? Is it?
It's a new genre.
You making up these genres,
especially made for
southern fried rock and roll garage.
Yeah, from Epsom.
Southern London.
That's right. It is a bit south of the border, Epsom.
Yeah, the deep south.
Well, they ride horses over there, don't they?
Do.
You know, there you go. Enough said.
Yeah.
So, what a great band they are live.
Well, we've already said that they're one of the greatest bands we've seen. You had them, then the Drellers came on, and then you had the Fleshtones. And the funny thing is that when we first met, we talked about the Fleshtones, saying that they're, along with the Liars, were like two of our favourite sort of American bands. And we'd never seen them.
And we'd never seen them play live, either of us.
Neither of us have seen them play live, ever.
Yeah, so that was our first ever Fleshtones gig. Yeah.
And what a gig.
Were we disappointed?
No.
It was amazing. I mean, it was truly a stupendous gig.
I expected them to be good, because you hear so many great reviews and you see bits of them on YouTube or the movie they did, Pardon Us for Living, which was a great film. But, they're not getting any younger. They've been going a long while. They were playing in CBGBs in, late 77, I guess, And you wonder how they can still maintain those levels of energy. I mean, I was exhausted watching them and dancing and jumping around at the front, but God, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's just a blur. And they didn't stop, did they? We realised there was not one break in the music until the encore, really. There was always something going on, whether it's a drum beat, whether it's feedback. It was just a full-on assault.
And for a photographer, it was just a dream gig for a photographer, because it's just action all the way.
I think you got some of the best photos I've seen from recent years.
Well, I tell you what, when you get a band like that, they do it because they love doing it. They just want to please you, they want to please the fans. They want to throw a few poses for the photographers, but it's great that everything comes really so naturally to them.
Yeah,
and with the strength and depth of all their songs, plus the visual aspect. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with that gig, really, could you?
No.
It was just fantastic.
That's going to be pretty much difficult to beat that.
I think so.
Everybody come away smiling, didn't they? In a great mood.
And of course, after my pictures and your piece came out on your Retromamp on the blog, I got a fantastic email from Peter saying, well, thank you very much. We were just happy to play the gig, and it was... The email was so self-effacing. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was nice to get that, wasn't it?
And
they seemed to be really genuinely nice guys as well. Which,
they were.
Which does
help. Lovely blokes.
So,
because I photographed them backstage and had a chat to them, and they were really lovely blokes.
And you picked out your favourite Fleshtones track.
Back to School. was Back to School.
Great track from the Take a Good Look album.
That was such a superb gig, and I just can't say enough about how great it was to be there and just experience what a great band they are, and also to hear from them afterwards. That was superb. So we'll be in touch, and we can't wait to see you guys again. Quite honestly,
that was great. And definitely please check out the review and the feature on the gig, because there's some great photos of Paul's from the show, backstage and on stage and off stage and jumping around on the stage and in midair. So
superb.
Some great pictures. So
I had a great night.
Check out the blog. And then we had another good gig, didn't we? Which was the Captain's birthday.
60th birthday, Captain Sensible. I remember when he was a young stripling.
Yeah.
Back playing at the Marquee, 1977. And there he is, 60. An old man now.
Yeah.
Not quite as old as me. But, still looking pretty dapper.
Yeah.
Him and Vanian, can still knock it out.
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it? And they had a good lineup because they had TV Smith, and they had the Ruts DC. Mm-hmm. They also had Johnny Moped and Tempo Tudor, but I was in the Pineapple having a few real ales during their set, so I didn't review them. But I made it up there just in time to see TV Smith, who had a good set. And then we had the Damned, and it was just packed, wasn't it? It was dangerously packed. It
was. The Forum was as packed as I'd ever seen it, and it must have taken me an hour to get from the bar at the back down to the front, because everybody kept saying, "Hey, Slats!
Yeah.
Hey, nice to see you."
Yeah.
Hey, Slats! I ran into so many people I knew.
Yeah.
And that I'd run into in the music business over the last 35 years. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It took me an hour to get down to the front of the stage.
Well, I gave up in the end. Because I'm glad you were down in the photo pit, because I just couldn't get to the front. I gave up,
But the Damned pulled it right off, didn't they?
Yeah, they played a good set.
I thought they did a fantastic set.
Yeah. They did a good selection of tracks, mainly from sort of Black Album, Machine Gun Etiquette, and a couple of the great old classics. And they, I said, Captain Sensible looked fantastic, didn't he? He still looked great. And you've picked a track here which, at first I was thinking, oh God, it's a bit of an obvious choice, but because we do tend to go for the more obscure tracks. But then I thought, no, why not? You're right. This was the song that they played on the night that probably summed it all up. And all the balloons came down, and it was a bit corny. It was fun. But yeah, sod it. Let's play it.
Let's smash it up.
Smash it up!
future, we're looking to the future now. We're going to have all these 70 and 80-year-old guitarists. You know?
Well, it's Charlie Harper's 70th birthday this year, isn't it?
That's right.
People wouldn't believe it, would you?
Yeah,
Charlie
I know.
Harper's
That's
still doing it and still
yeah.
playing. I mean, I think the UK subs have probably got one of their best lineups at the moment. They're
Can't wait to go and see them again.
Yeah,
actually,
it'd be great.
Because the last gig we saw was last year. Was superb.
Yeah.
Absolutely superb. And I hadn't seen them for 30 years, and they were better than ever.
That's right. Because you photographed them for some of their early single covers.
That's
right.
right.
Warhead and all the
Warhead.
Like that, you know.
Got my pictures on that.
And the Damned, you did. You didn't see the Damned in the very early days, did you? But you photographed them.
Didn't. I saw
later.
them just before Lou Edmonds joined, and then I actually went down to Rockfield Studios and did some photographs for. Of the Damned for a piece in Sounds magazine while they were recording the Black Album. Yeah. And then later on, after they re-released that Black Album in CD form, they used some of my pictures in the packaging.
Oh yeah, you've got some great photos.
Yeah, I've got some great pictures of the captain. Yeah, I've got pictures of the captain riding a horse backwards, as you'll want to do.
Yeah. I think we're going to have to do like a little feature on the blog of like a then and now. We'll have to try and dig. I know we're going to touch on this later with Billy Childish, but I think we'll have to do that where we'll get like the first picture you took of a band. And then do one of them now, like, you know, because you've met up again with so many people that you did photograph in the old days, like the adverts, like the UK subs, like Wilco Johnson. That it'd be nice to get like one of your very early photos from say the 70s, and then them put them next to one of the photos, the more recent pictures. I think there's probably a book in it for you there, you know,
before and after.
Yeah, that was a Clash book, wasn't it? Penny
or before
Smith's.
and dead.
Before. Oh, don't say that. The thing is not. They're still hanging on.
There's a few that have rested in peace, but
normally just after you've had a drink with them. You know? Bon Scott filmed in it. Joe Strummer. I mean, I'm a bit worried about having a beer with you at the moment. You know, I might.
Oh, you can go on the water, Steve.
Yeah,
you know.
bloody hell, it might be our last podcast. You know? But that was a great night, and thanks to Lee from the Ruts for sorting us out for that, and
the Ruts did a great gig,
and they did, didn't they? Yeah,
they played after they came on after the Jam, which is a difficult thing to do, but played an excellent gig.
Yeah. And next up here, we went to see a band again, which I've liked for many years. That was the Fuzztones. And I first saw them back in the mid-80s, supporting the Damned, and they're around that time of that Paisley Underground era. I think them, and when the Damned did the Nas Nomad album of like 60s covers, you know, that got me looking back into all the old garage stuff of the 60s and Lenny Kaye's Nuggets. And of course the Fuzztones used to pick out a lot of those great tracks that we've played, you know, Sonic songs and the Haunted 125, which is one of our favourites. And so finally they came back to the UK, and they haven't played here. Like the Fleshtones, they very rarely play in the UK. And then we saw them, and it was a good warm-up. We had the Go-Go Cult from Reading, and then we had Pussycat and the Dirty Johnsons.
Masked Men from Reading.
Men from Reading, yes. Yeah. Although they ruined it a little bit, because, as I said in the blog piece, you know, they all were wearing the masks and the stripy jerseys, and they looked like something out of the Green Hornet or one of these Marvel comics. And then they actually came on stage afterwards and had to clear all their own equipment back without the masks on, and it ruined it.
There you go.
And I said,
I wasn't looking.
No, I said you should employ some sort of henchman to do all that for you.
Yeah.
And then Pussycat and the Dirty Johnsons were fantastic.
Were excellent.
They were really good, weren't they?
She's so tiny.
She is, isn't she? Looks huge on stage, but is tiny. But they put on a great show.
Little and large.
Yeah. It was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was fantastic.
And she was sort of crazy, wasn't she?
He's a demon guitarist, isn't he?
Oh, good band, really powerful.
Oh, bloody hell. Fantastic.
Yeah, because after that build-up, there was a massive wait for the Fuzztones, and they didn't have a DJ.
A lot of people would like to see a band like the Fuzztones.
Yeah.
But how are you going to get home if a band comes on at 11:30? I mean, I could only stay for half an hour because I had to get my last train home.
Oh, me too. I mean, I did the review and I had to miss half of it because I didn't know so I couldn't review the ending. I didn't know what encores they played because I had to go home. It was a shame in a way because the two support bands were really good. And they built up a really good atmosphere, didn't they? And then it all got a bit flat.
Yeah,
people were starting to get annoyed and angry. And
I thought the Fuzztones should have come on straight after
And built on all
Pussycat
that.
and the Johnsons, and they would have been riding on their wave.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Pussycat and the Johnsons really put on a great gig.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, the crowd were really up for it then.
Yeah, some people had actually had to go early and actually missed the gig, and there wasn't. I know a lot of people around us weren't happy.
But when they came on, they were good.
Yeah, luckily.
Yeah.
It took a bit of a while for them to win over the crowd, but
It
they did, and they played a great set, to what we saw of it. And again, you got some great photos of them. So let's play our pick of the Fuzztones, and I think we're going to go for Gotta Get Some.
Gotta get some. Yeah, baby. Sitting in a class waiting for time to pass away behind some girl. I'm getting mad at the world, and when I'm out for the day, I miss a chick on the way. I said, if you're free, come along with me. When I get too close and the feeling comes over me, gotta get some. When it's just out of reach, all the girls gather round, you know they're digging my sound. Holding hands in the sand, we're getting wet, getting tan. I'm so ready to go, my mind's gonna blow. When I get too close and the feeling comes over me, gotta get some. Every night when it feels right and the band is playing, you know that I decide I'm dancing with my girl, cause we're both uptight, you know it can't be wrong the way she turns me on. When I get too close and the feeling comes over me, gotta have my after hours when we're hanging around a crowded party in town, you know that somebody's tired, well it's too late to home, you know I'm my own, and when she finally says that she'll smoke my phone, when I get too close and the feeling comes over me, I gotta get some. Get some.
And that was the Fuzztones and Gotta Get Some. And you've been busy with the Oasis Definitely Maybe reissues. Probably the highlight was the big exhibition Chasing the Sun 93 to 97, which we went along to the opening night, which was pretty good. A good fun opening night, wasn't it, party? And tell us about how you got involved with that exhibition.
Well, I was asked to contribute some photographs to the Definitely Maybe re-release package, and then it was mooted that all the contributing photographers would take part in a photo exhibition which was put together by the photographer Lawrence Watson very ably. Thank you very much, Lawrence. And put on at gallery over in Hoxton. Well, it was packed. It was absolutely packed. It was wild.
Couldn't move, could you?
It was wild. What a great night. I mean, It was a proper rock and roll night.
Yeah.
And to top it all, the drink was unlimited,
Yeah.
virtually. Everybody was having a whale of a time. There's a great sound system going on.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of Oasis paraphernalia that you could see. There was a mock-up of Bonehead's front room, because the front cover of Definitely Maybe, where everybody was posing up.
That was fantastic.
Like the band.
That was
it was great, wasn't
brilliant,
it?
wasn't it? 'Cause
It was.
the whole, like, if you imagine the cover of Definitely Maybe, you've got the sitting room, and that was actually
in 3D.
And that was Bonehead's.
That was Bonehead's front room,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could actually go and have your photo taken sitting in or
In
posing
the chair.
in the chair, or like on the cover.
It was brilliant. It was
great
absolutely
fun,
brilliant. They've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think that was one of the best photo exhibitions.
Yeah, it was. It was a great exhibition. And blow me, who should walk in but Bonehead and Liam?
Yeah.
And I'd seen Bonehead fairly recently, but I hadn't seen Liam for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And he walked straight up to me and said, "Slattery, I haven't seen you. Where have you been?"
Yeah.
Gave me a big kiss and put his arms around me. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was actually really good and quite. It was great to see him again, actually, after all these years.
Because I captured that kiss for posterity, didn't I?
Oh.
So I managed to get a nice picture of you and Liam and Bonehead and their brother Paul Gallagher was there.
Paul was there too.
So I've got a nice photo of all of you together, which again you can see on the blog. I haven't published the one of you and Liam kissing, but I thought I'd save that for the news of the world.
Yeah, right. Don't give it away.
I might make some money finally out of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it was a good exhibition, and then you've had your photos in this excellent reissue, the box set of Definitely Maybe.
Yeah, they come out in the excellent reissue, which contains a lot of demo tracks, which are well worth listening to. Even if you're not a huge Oasis fan, I think there's some good stuff, some good early stuff of Oasis to listen to. Stuff that sounds very vibrant and very much like they sounded back in, in the small venues that they played back in '94.
The first time you met them was in Eden Studios when they were doing the first demos, wasn't it?
Yeah, March '94.
Yeah, and then I know I've heard some of those demos and it's fantastic, because I'm not a big fan of Oasis. I liked the first album, but for me that was it. But when you listen to those early demos or hear how raw and exciting they were, you can sort of see why there was a buzz about them.
They were just a great band because you had Liam had just a fantastic voice, and Noel was just driving everything. It was Noel's. I mean, Liam and Tony and Bonehead had got the band together, and after Noel came in, he became the driving force, and he clearly had a vision which the others didn't.
Yeah.
And he had the songs as well, which helped.
Yeah.
And as I say, the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, it was nice that Liam turned up to that.
It was really nice to see Liam.
Yeah,
I've always had a soft spot for Liam.
Yeah. I suppose in a way you were like reminding him of those really exciting early days of when they were very first in the band before they become famous, and the fact that you were probably more rock and roll than Oasis put together.
Certainly.
And don't forget, in all good bookshops is your great book of Oasis, the early years.
No,
A Year on the Road.
A Year on the Road.
Yeah, sorry, that's the Smiths is the early years. Your book, isn't it?
The Smiths is the early years. The Oasis book is A Year on the Road, or as I should have called it, How I Survived a Year on the Road.
That's right. And you were quite clever because because normally you're not really sort of worried about merchandise or things like that, but you took a box of books and they went like that, didn't they?
They did. I took a box of books to that exhibition, and they went like hotcakes.
Yeah. And I suppose we've got to mention Brian and Fernanda, who we met at the exhibition.
Brian is
from Austin.
From Austin, he's a super duper Oasis fan. One of their number one fans.
And his Mexican girlfriend.
And his
Fernanda.
Mexican girlfriend, Fernanda. What a lovely couple.
Yeah.
We met them. I signed a book for them. And
got to say hello to them.
We will.
And hope to see them again. And another band that you saw for the first time recently that I've been raving about for a while is 8 Rounds Rapid from Southend. And you saw them at the 100 Club. Fantastic band. They do have Wilko Johnson's son on guitar, Simon. And of course you photographed Wilko and Dr. Feelgood. That was the first band that you ever photographed, as we've spoken about on the pod before. And there you are photographing his son, who, as you said, is a bit of a chip off the old block.
39 years later. 39 years later. You went to see 8 Rounds Rapid at Throwaway in Southend.
Yeah, well, I put them on last year with TV Smith, and I had them as support. And Wilko came along to that.
That's right.
And it was really, really lovely to see.
Seen a picture of you and Wilko.
Yeah, with a nice picture, especially with him and TV Smith. And he was there to watch his son's band. And there's no getting away from it. They are... they're different, but they do have shades of Dr. Feelgood.
Simon's a chip off the old block, isn't he?
He's a great guitarist, isn't he?
He is a great guitarist, no question about it. He's got that similar style. I mean, obviously his dad's taught him to play that plectrum free style, which is very difficult. I love Wilco, and Simon certainly got his dad's genes when it comes to knowing how to play the guitar. He's also got the genes in the way he walks across the stage as well.
Yeah, he does.
He's great. Don't get me wrong. He's not I don't think he's a dad copyist or anything, but. He's certainly got it.
Yeah. No, I mean, as a band, I mean, they're certainly very individual, you know, and I know they've been getting some good press with the new album that's been released, Lost Leader, and that's been getting some good write-ups.
Well, I thought they were excellent. Live, I mean, they blew me away, quite honestly. I thought they were really powerful. Don't let up for a moment. Don't play any ballads.
No.
I mean, it's proper rock and roll all the way through.
Probably ironically, I'm going to pick the one song that does sound a bit like Dr. Feelgood, but then why not? It's bloody great. Let's hear My Mate from 8 Rounds Rapid. And it was a great track by 8 Rounds Rapid from their new album Lost Leader called My Mate. I like that. My mate's a bit tight, but he's all right. I think we all know someone like that, don't we?
Yes, Steve.
Yeah.
Well, it was a superb gig, and after the gig, I went backstage and just had to talk to Simon and just tell him what a great gig it was.
And then we had a nice little trip down to the Medway, didn't we? When we interviewed Glenn Page from the Len Price 3 and Jamie O'Hara, the writer of the new movie Pub Monkey, and which is finally almost ready to be released. We had a nice interview with Jamie and Glenn, which is out on our Retrosonic podcast special episode now. You can download that from our SoundCloud site. And that was great, wasn't it? Because it was so nice to finally go and see the movie. And we went along to the very, very first screening at the BFI or the NFT or the MFI or whatever it's called. You know, and that was really nice, wasn't it?
That was excellent.
it was nice to be part of that and to see the finished film for the first time.
Well, of course, it had been 3 years in the making, and everybody had done virtually everything for free. The actors worked for free. Glenn from the Len Price 3 and Neil and Steve had all from the Len Price 3 had all worked tirelessly on the soundtrack, and I think Neil had done some of the sound mixing.
Well, most of it was Jamie's family, wasn't it?
It was. A lot of it was Jamie's family, because Jamie wrote it. Because they'd filmed some of the film 3 years ago, people hadn't seen it.
That's right.
People hadn't seen it. It was the first time all the members of the cast had actually seen the film all spliced together.
Yeah.
So they were all as amazed as us, actually.
Yeah.
And the reaction was actually really superb.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show what you could do for virtually nothing if you've got the will and the incredible donation of time by so many people.
I mean, I suppose we're used to sort of bands doing things themselves. We're used to like our podcast, like the blog, everything's DIY, do it yourself. But for me, I could never equate someone doing a movie. It's just like it's unbelievable.
Well, you've really got to have a vision.
Oh, unbelievable!
You've got to have an incredible vision to do that, and I think I was truly amazed by everything, and I was astounded by it. The quality of the acting and the quality of the photography. I thought was really really excellent.
Yeah.
And of course, it was great to meet all the members of the cast and the band at the Doggett's Coat and Badge.
A few beers afterwards.
And over a few beers, we were chatting about the film and how they'd made it, and it was all fascinating stuff, really. Yeah. Well, I think the film was superb, quite honestly, and
very violent.
A bit of violence in there, here and there.
Swearing.
A bit of swearing, yes. Bit of drinking, but a superb soundtrack.
Oh yeah, they did a fantastic job. The Len Price 3
did a fantastic job
for such a live, visual, energetic band. For them to sort of change tack and actually get involved with a score and actually scoring the movie along.
Absolutely, actually to see the movie. I mean, Glenn actually had to see the movie and write some incidental music as well. So that was a new thing for him. And fair play to the band and fair play to everybody involved. It's such an incredible achievement.
Yeah, and of course Jamie was actually one of the stars of the film as well. He had his first acting role, and he plays a psychopathic debt collector
very well.
I was a bit nervous about going up to him afterwards. But it was fantastic. So do recommend listening to our Pub Monkey podcast, where Jamie and Glenn talk about the making of the movie, and there's also some exclusive Len Price 3 music from the film which has not been released or heard yet, so recommend you checking that one out. And also when we were down in the Medway, we went along to visit Billy Childish in his Chatham Dockyard studio, and we interviewed him for our upcoming podcast, which is going to be released any day now, which is a really fascinating chat to Billy about all his career and various guises and lineups along the way. It was funny because you've been photographing Billy for 30 odd years, but then we realised that you'd actually been photographing him for 37 years, but you didn't even know you'd been photographing him for that long. So tell us the story behind your recent meeting with Billy.
Yeah, well, that was quite an interesting story. I mean, I'd been in touch. I've known Billy since I first took photographs of him in the Milkshakes in '83, which is 31 years ago. And I've photographed virtually all his bands since then. So and I've photographed him when he started doing art and his art exhibitions. And so that's basically 30 years of photographing Billy Childish. And then just this year, I got an email from Billy saying, "Paul, did you take this picture? Because I'm in it." Now, it was a picture of the Sex Pistols with this young bloke trying to scream into the mic. Yeah. It was the Sex Pistols gig at Brunel University in Uxbridge in December 1977. And that young kid singing into the mic is Billy Childish. Well, blow me, Billy saw that picture somewhere online and when we went down to the Medway, I took him a really nice print of it,
Yeah,
which
that's
I've
great.
swapped for a Billy Childish print.
It's nice, isn't it? And it's funny because you can. I've seen the print, and you'll be able to see this also on the blog soon. You know, we're going to publish this the photo that you took of the Sex Pistols, and you can see Billy right at the front of the stage, this young,
Amazing,
peroxide-haired punk screaming into the microphone as Johnny Rotten standing above him. And it's a fantastic little bit of history, isn't it? And for Billy was so chuffed because there he is at the Sex Pistols gig right at the front. And you've captured him, and of course you didn't at the time. You had no idea who he was or what he was going to become.
Absolutely.
Complete coincidence.
I should have looked at the picture more closely and I would realise I would have recognised Billy, but I'd never really thought about.
No,
it never really occurred to me.
You're not going to think about that.
I never thought, is that Billy Childish?
No. The Billy Childish podcast is probably going to be out before this, actually. So look out on the SoundCloud site for that. It's a really great interview with Billy. We interview him while he's painting a huge canvas in his studio. And he talks us through his philosophy on music and picks out some of his favourite songs, and we pick a selection of our favourite songs of his lineups as well and get him to talk about them, and it was good fun, wasn't it? It was a good day out.
Very illuminating.
Yeah, it was indeed. So thanks to Billy and Steve from L13 Studio, and I said it was a great day, and we're going to pick a track which is a little bit of a different one. It's not necessarily one of his lineups. It's a band called the Shall I Say Quois, which is members of the Head Coatees, isn't it?
Well, there's Kira and Ludella from the Head Coatees, and Julie, or Nurse Julie, from the members of the British Empire, who are now the
Shall I
say
Quois? Shall I say it right or wrong? Can I say it all? But this is a great. And you played this track when we were driving down to Medway. We were playing Billy's songs and we were singing along, and you played this, and I thought this was a great track. So let's hear it. This is the Shall I Say Quois, and It's Hard to Be Happy.
You say you love me, yeah, you love me, but you really don't. You're lying in Sandra's arms trying to get stoned. You say you're happy, yeah, you're happy, no regrets. You're lying on the sofa smoking cigarettes. You say you're ready, yeah, you're ready for God's truth, while drowning all your sorrows in overproof. You say you got it, yeah, you got it, what you gonna do? You spent all your money on a misspent youth. It's so hard to be happy. It's so hard to be happy when everyone you meet is happier than you. You really don't. You're lost in your own mind, wanting to get stoned. You say you're happy, yeah, you're happy, no regrets. You're lying on the sofa smoking cigarettes. It's so hard to be happy. It's so hard to be happy when everyone you meet is happier than you.
And one band that I've been meaning to play for a while, that probably taking that Medway Milkshakes rock and roll tradition, is a great outfit called the Teamsters from North London. They're a sort of band that contacted me through the blog, and I just thought they were fantastic. You know, I thought this was really going back to the early Milkshakes rock and roll, Mersey beat, sort of Beatles, Hamburg era stuff, you know, but just really great, enthusiastic sort of sound, you know, and I loved it. And this is a track from their EP on Moody Monkey Records called Play Along with the Teamsters. And this is called Girl, How Could Ya? And our next Retro Man blog night is going to be July the 18th, and that's going to be at the Half Moon Putney. And we've got the WitchDoktors, the Supermink 70, and King Salami The Cumberland 3.
Well, I know the WitchDoktors, and they're great, and Superminks, excellent band, but I've never seen King Salami, but you keep telling me that they're absolutely superb live.
You'll love them, yeah. Advance tickets are £8, that's a bargain, and £10 on the door, and I think come along, it's going to be a fantastic night of rock and roll. And
the WitchDoktors, well, enough said, they're a superb live band.
So here's a taster. We're going to play a track from each of the three bands that we've got on the bill to whet your appetite. And which one have you chosen from the WitchDoktors?
I have chosen Knock Me Back.
Used to be so physical, now you're hypocritical, you knock me back. One day you're kinda wonderful, next you're bleeding pitiful, get off the crack. It's so typical, I can't tell you. Hypocritical, I can't tell you.
And that was the WitchDoktors and Knock Me Back from their great $3 hooker album, which is one of those albums you just got to own. Every track on there is fantastic, isn't it?
It is a great album. Great slice of southern rock from Epsom.
No, Mississippi.
Epsom, Mississippi. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But they're fantastic. That's a great driving record, isn't it? You know, you put it on in the car when you're going down the...
Well, I just drove up north a few days ago and had that on, had all the WitchDoktors on, and it's just helps you drive better, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, your old Honda Jazz becomes a Cadillac, doesn't it? Suddenly, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not driving
my
down
Nissan Sunny, rather.
That's right. You're not going down the A4 to Brentford. You're actually down the old Highway 66. You know, it's a great. You know, you've got to have the top down, your window open, your Jack Daniels and your fag and your...
That's right, yeah. Route 66 through Tucumcari, Arizona, rather than the M4 elevated through Brentford, isn't it? There you go.
And if that's not enough, we're going to have King Salami and the Cumberland 3.
Well, you keep talking about King Salami, Steve, but I haven't seen them yet.
Oh, so you're going to hear them now.
Okay.
And you're going to shake it wild.
Gotta shake, you gotta shake it, why you gotta shake, you gotta shake it, why you gotta shake, you gotta shake it, why you gotta shake, you gotta shake it, wow. You got cooking, you're gonna get real gone. You got your blue dress on when it's a Saturday night and you're looking so fine. You got me going pretty baby with your dress so tight. It's 10 feet cheaper in black and white, but you full colors on it, so second wide. You gotta shake. You gotta shake it, why you gotta shake. You gotta shake it, why you gotta shake. You gotta shake it, why you gotta shake.
And that was King Salami and the Cumberland 3 and Shake It Wild from their 14 Blazing Bangers album. You can see where they're going with their sausage-based puns, can't you? But great track and fantastic band, and I can't wait to see them next week.
I can't wait either, Steve.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going to enjoy them.
I'm
if
sure
you don't,
I will.
I'll give you your money back.
Thank you.
Hang on, you're on the guest list.
Oh, am I?
but completing the lineup is Supermix 70 and the lead singer-songwriter Paul Osborne's a good friend of ours, one of the regulars at the 12 Bar. And they have also started up a club night in Wimbledon called the Buzz Club. And they've had the Fallen Leaves play, and they do this, I think it's every 2 or 3 months down in Wimbledon. Good idea, you know. I know we're trying to get a scene going now down in South and South West London again to reclaim that area of London. And it's great that people like Paul are sort of starting up clubs, and also Albert Cummins is doing some club nights in Putney as well. More of a sort of like an invite-only club night, but great for Albert and Paul to be getting out there and starting up these nights. I think it's really important to get some live music down South and South West London again, isn't it? As we've talked about many times, that it's the scene which has been devastated, all the venues have gone. Yeah, great stuff from Paul and Albert. And here's a track from the the Supermink 70, which is recorded at the Buzz Club as a live track, and it's called What Would You Change? Right, and that was a Supermink 70, and What Would You Change? So you can see all three of those bands at the Half Moon in Putney next Friday, July the 18th. So come along, we look forward to seeing you there. And one of our strange coincidences that I was over on holiday recently in the south of France and having a break from music for a while. Just no computers, no bands, no music, nothing. Lovely break. And I just happened to bump into Tommy, the drummer from Swedish band Stupidity, just completely by coincidence.
It's fate, Steve.
It is, isn't it? Because especially I've been meaning to play them on the podcast for a while as well. But the complete coincidence, bumped into Tommy, and he's such a great guy. And I met him and his wife Eva, and we shot off and had a few beers in Nice, and had a great time. But the funny thing was, is it's more of a coincidence because I've been talking at the Fleshtones. Stupidity and Tommy, they're big friends with the Fleshtones, and especially Keith. And when we saw the Fleshtones, I mentioned to Keith briefly that we got a mutual friend and the band Stupidity, and he said, yeah, great band, great guys. And lo and behold, like a couple of weeks later, I bump into Tommy in Nice of all places. But great, and it is a track from them, which actually, to complete the coincidence, this features Keith from the Fleshtones, and it's a track from their album Move, and it's called He's Coming.
Going so fast, and you knew it couldn't last.
And that was Stupidity with He's Coming, and that features Keith from the Fleshtones on guitar, and that's from their album Move. And a great track, and you can sense their influences there with Stupidity. We're all linking back to Dr. Feelgood, to the Fleshtones, and excellent band. And I think they played over here at the 12 Bar and the Dirty Water Club before. Hopefully they're going to come over again, and I can't wait to see them play.
Absolutely, they sound like a right old good Swedish rock band.
Yeah, I think you're going to like them as well. I'm looking forward to seeing them play. I haven't seen them before, I haven't seen them play live, but I can't wait. And keeping on the Swedish theme, we've got some great news. Is that Ebbot Lundberg from the Soundtrack of Our Lives is back with a bang and a great new EP called the Homo Futurus EP.
Must be weird.
It's weird in a good way, as Ebbot is.
Yeah.
And here's a track from the EP. This is called Backdrop People. And that was Ebbot Lundberg, ex of the Soundtrack of Our Lives, and a great track from his new EP, Homo Futurus. I said the backing band is Side Effects, who are an excellent psychedelic band in their own right. It's a great track from Ebbot, isn't it? I mean, it's still got strands of the old Soundtrack sound.
Ebbot's got a great voice.
Yeah, I know.
I love his voice.
Probably my favourite singer, I think. He's such a great
He's got a great tonal range, Ebbot.
Yeah.
And you can just feel all the warmth coming out of his voice. I love the way he sings.
Yeah, fantastic. And he's playing live in Sweden at the moment, touring with Side Effects and getting some great reviews. And it's nice to see him back on stage and giving up his life as a TV celebrity, as we've talked about in the past, and he's been famous for taking part in this reality musicians type program. And
there's so many.
Nice for him to get back.
There's so many absolutely brilliant musicians in Sweden,
yeah,
who get very little publicity in this country, and it's a real pity because they are really great.
Yeah, you're right. And so we've championed Soundtrack of Our Lives for many years on the blog. In fact, the blog was originally set up just to really write about Soundtrack of Our Lives. I mean, Retro Man comes from my favourite song, Soundtrack of Our Lives track, It doesn't come from the fact that I'm a miserable, nostalgic, retro-looking bastard or anything. It's just it's my favourite song.
Oh, that's what I thought it was all about, actually. I didn't know it was anything to do with soundtracks. I thought it was just you.
That's what people think.
Like Misery Gut Steve, retro. That's, because you spend all your spare time, going to independent record shops, don't you, Steve? Going,
good old
I can't
days,
afford that. That's far too expensive. I'm far too miserable now.
You see, now I've broken that myth, you see. It was based around my soundtrack song. And that's how my very first blog piece was about the Soundtrack of Our Lives. And then, it's all blown up from there, isn't it? You've taken some fantastic photos of Soundtrack as well over the past couple of years before they split up, and...
you couldn't help but get a good picture of them. Probably the Soundtracks are probably one of the greatest live bands I've ever seen in my life. Big old Ebbot he's big, but he's big on charisma too, and the rest of the band, just probably one of the most charismatic bands I've ever seen. There's not one member of that band who doesn't have a good dollop of charisma about them, and 6 together was just mind-blowing, really, watching them play live. But great to hear Ebbot back on the boards again, and love to see him over here.
Well, let's hope he comes over to the UK sometime soon, and it will be a dream come true if he was to come over here and play. But it's a real tribute coming from you when you think about some of the bands that you've photographed over the years, that you hold Soundtrack in such high esteem. But I think you're right, aren't they? They are a photographer's dream. They're, like we're talking about the WitchDoktors and the Fleshtones, and there's some bands just make it easier to photograph because they're so visual, and they know what it's all about. We can dedicate that as well to Hasse and Lisa Lott, our great friends over in Sweden, and it's a great track, and so pleased to be able to play a fantastic Ebbot Lundberg solo record and not have to worry about the Soundtrack of Our Lives anymore. It's great stuff. And we had a couple of great gigs for the Retro Man blog nights, didn't we? We had the Monochrome set and the Fallen Leaves, which was a really good lineup, and that went down really well, didn't it?
That was a superb lineup. They went really well together, and it's the first time I'd ever seen the Monochrome set. And they were slightly more eclectic than the normal rock and roll bands I go and see, and excellent.
Yeah, they played
the gig
well, didn't
was
they?
excellent, and they're a very charismatic band too. For a band that aren't so visual as, say, the Fleshtones, nonetheless, they have a great deal of charisma, some great songs, and some and wonderful performance.
And then our last Retro Man blog night was with Graham Day and the Forefathers, the Galileo 7 and the Len Price 3, which is our midway special. And I was saying that it's funny, if you remember listening back to one of our very first podcasts, I mean, me, you and Adam are big fans of Graham Day. At the time, he wasn't playing music at all. He'd disappeared off the face of the musical landscape, hadn't he? And we were bemoaning in one of the episodes, I can't remember which one it was now, but if you listen back, and we were saying, what happened to him? Why isn't he out playing? He should be out there playing again. And then lo and behold, a couple of years later, we're actually managing to put on a gig for him, which was, for me as a fan, was a dream come true. And it was a really special evening for me to be able to do that and put on the gig. And I'm still getting messages from people that enjoyed it. And I don't think I've ever had such a fantastic feedback from people. And,
wow, it was wild. It was wild, no.
I was bruised and battered at the end of it.
It was like a punk gig from '77.
He was getting...
There was these There were these ex-prisoners fans who were probably slim, sylph-like little things.
In the mid-80s.
Yeah, 20 years ago, they all weigh about 15 stone now, all jumping on me. It wasn't nice, I tell you. I was having to fend them off with both hands and take photos at the same time. Off,
Yeah, well, I had like...
palming off. I was feeling like a rugby player. I was palming off with the right hand and trying to take pictures with the left hand. Yes. But
I had
it was a great night.
Bruised ribs on the monitors, which I haven't had for ages, but fantastic, And
It was,
as I said, I just like to say thanks to everyone that really took the time to write in about the gig. It means a lot to me, and I know you as well, because we do this for nothing. We do it because we're fans, and that gig really seemed to hit the right chord with people, and I think the band seemed to rise to the occasion, and they seemed to be happy. Alan Crockford, who plays in the Forefathers and the Prisoners and James Taylor Quartet and that, and he opened up the show with his own band Galileo 7, who are great, aren't they? They're a really good band in their own right. So I think they came over really well.
Viv swirly organ, can't beat
fantastic.
it.
No, and talking of Viv, we're going to play a track from the new album, False Memory Lane, and she takes on the lead vocals on this song. And here it is. This is the Galileo 7, and Don't Know What I'm Waiting For. And that was a Galileo 7 and a great track from their new album False Memory Lane called Don't Know What I'm Waiting For. And in the audience was the Jailers, the bass player and the drummer from his old line at the Jailers, because they're in the Woggles, and the Woggles were playing on the continent, and I think they stopped off en route and came along to the gig, which was a nice surprise.
Yeah, nicked Graham Day's Irish whiskey.
That's right, off the stage, didn't they? Yeah, you wanted to do that once, didn't you?
Yeah.
Most offended.
He's nicking his Jamesons. His mates from the Jailers. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jailers really were. It's very difficult to say which is the best lineup, isn't it? But I do think those two albums by the Jailers are unbelievable. Absolutely fantastic. And especially Triple Distilled, which is one of my favourite albums.
Like the whiskey, isn't it? Like the whiskey they drink. Triple distilled, mate.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that, actually. I wonder where that came from.
Yeah.
And this is a track that they played on the night. They sound checked with this, and I was blown away just watching the sound check. And I would have gone home then after seeing them play the soundtrack. And I was so pleased that they played this. And they did play quite a few Jailers tracks, didn't they? Because especially the guys were in the audience, and they went down really well. But this was my pick. And before we play out on this, I'd like to say thanks for tonight, Paul. Pleasure as always.
Thank you, Steve.
And
always enjoy it.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out the blog, www.retromanblog.com, where you can get links to all the bands that we played, a bit more information on the podcasts that we do. Obviously, check out all of Paul's great photos as well. And hopefully we'll be back with a new episode a little bit sooner than the 4 months it's taken to get around to this one. So thanks for listening, everybody. And to play us out, we've got Graham Day and the Jailers and Something About You Girl. Good night.